Food Sovereignty Center this afternoon. It's a space of dignity, a space of solidarity. And so, helping put it all together was Knorke Leaf. Knorke is a transdisciplinary urban graphic artist dedicated to urban art and activism. She studied fine art, specializing in engraving inside and outside Bolivia. She won her first prize in engraving in 2006 in La Paz, Bolivia, and has since participated in numerous national and international exhibitions, where she has won a number of prestigious awards. In 2015, she was one of the activist artists at COP21 Paris. In 2019, she was the first place winner in illustration at the annual Latin American contest, Life Stories That Survive Violence and Persecution in the Countryside in South America, Bolivia. She has been invited to paint murals in Canada and to give a workshop on street art and feminism at the 7th Feminist Congress in Montreal, in Johannesburg, and at the International Biennale of Amazon Art in Peru. In 2019, she was the director, designer, and executor of the first macro mural of Bolivia. Knorke, over to you.
Whoa.
Hello everybody, I'm sorry for the delay. Okay. I'm not used to this kind of spaces in terms of we are in meetings talking about activism and urgent stuff or yeah, other kind of meetings. But I will try my best because I don't like to talk much about myself. I'm not sure. I'm not good at it. But there are some few words that guide me through all these years. And one of those quotes is this one: creativity is the greatest revolution in history. And that, for me, is not only talking through colors, it's talking through handicraft, it's talking through music, it's talking through science, through literature, through everything we consider creativity. I like to talk more about creativity than art. You understand? Because I think creativity is more equal and horizontal as well. So I rather as well to call my art creativity. All right? So I'm going to show you the first. This is my introduction to the street art. This is a really special mural for me, not because it was only the first one. In this time in Bolivia, we were having a really big march, historic march for the indigenous, with the indigenous people to try to defend tipnis. Maybe you heard about the tipnis, maybe not. It's one of the most important reserves we have in Bolivia. If you don't know where is Bolivia, Bolivia is the heart of South America. In those terms, we have all the climates that you can have as well, and we have as well the Amazon there. So the 22 parks that we have, the reserves that we have, are really important to provide the ecosystem that we have today in all South America. So in these terms, and also because I was part of that march, I wanted to do something that I don't know, was alive on the streets, and that's we call it resistance. For us, this word is something that it's struggling for 500 years. When we talk about resistance, it's don't forget your culture, to keep on with our knowledge, and it's a word that connects us to indigenous people. So that's why I did it. This is my second mural. It's in the university, Indigenous University, and it's trying to talk about what means Pachamama for us. It's Mother Earth. And yes, we do have a lot of influence of indigenous people. We are one of the countries that have more indigenous people all around South America, because they were extinct in several other countries like Chile, for example, or Argentina. We still have Mapuches fighting for their rights in Argentina and Chile. But Bolivia conserves a lot of indigenous people, even non-contact people as well, like Brazil. I think they are the most important places. So For us, Chacana, the cross you see in the middle, it's our north in life. It's like the cross for Catholics, kind of. But you see it from the sky. So our ancestors used to watch Chacana watching the stars. They were guided by the stars to do the gardening, to put the vegetables, when you have to take out the vegetables, when you have to do rituals. So we are talking about circular economy since 500 years ago, actually. It's not a new term for us. Okay. This is a sketch of another mural. I won the contest in the embassy of Spain. And I was supposed to represent the world and the culturality of the world. And I really don't like humans much. I'm sorry. But in terms of, I love human beings, of course. But I'm really pissed off with humanity, like a lot of people. And so I rather to talk through what animals have to say and the knowledge and wisdom they have. So that's why I rather to represent animals that are all around the world to understand where we come from. Because actually it gives us our personality and what we are. And well, that's why you see all these mixed texture cultures. You have a punk sheep, yes, you have a... Yes, I switch all so that we can dream aloud us. It's important to dream, to allow ourselves to dream. That's really important, especially in these moments. That's why creativity is so important. And this is a wall in Denmark that we did with other... I was invited to Denmark to paint, and I was the only woman. And this staying in Denmark was for me like a PhD in terms of gender, in terms of as well as street art, because I was with five men for a whole month. 3 of them were from Latin America and 2 were from Denmark. But I had a really hard time with patriarchalism there. Because the streets in general, maybe you don't know it, it's important to talk about, yes, talking about urban art and women in the streets. It's a space that's also really colonized and also patriarchal. So it's really difficult for us women to still have the rights to have the same equal treatment, even if it's not, even if you see this beautiful mural, there were a lot of conditions, you know, for me, not for the guys. So, well, that's it about Denmark. Then, yes, we did this exchange with a girl that was from Africa. I was in Berlin, this wall is in Berlin, and we were trying to talk about anti-poaching subjects that you, of course, know. So we try to, yes, recreate more knowledge and conscious about animals. And it's not love, it's not just love for animals. If we start recognizing the importance of ecosystems, we actually understand that each animal is important, especially the ones that are umbrellas in the ecosystems. And so it's really important to save them, to talk about them. And also it's anti-anthropologists to talk about them. And in this sense, yes, we are not talking about just the human beings, we are talking about every being on Earth. And that's equality for me. This is our mural, my mural in, I say my and our because this is the mural in the University of UQAM in Canada. And it's our mural because in the process of creating, I usually do 2 things. I always hear people, and in this case I was hearing the women. It was a Congress of Feminism, Francophone, I don't know how to say it, like French, Latin, anything.
Francophone.
Yes. So I told the girls what you want to see in that mural. No? You have the freedom to dream again and like what would you like to say? Because it's the most important place where all the people, students go for having a coffee and whatever. So they said we want us unite. We want women, our battles all around the world to be united. We want to be recognized. So we try to bring the history of black women, yes, Black Panthers. We try to bring the fight of the women in India against the farmer inequality, as well the Zapatistas and the 43 students of Mexico that were disappeared because of a narco state. So we were trying to bring all the continents, and it says in French, le peur de changer de camp. In English means fear will change sides. Yes? So our fear will change sides. Women. Yes. So, and then yes, I did a wapiti. It's a sacred animal in Canada. They have it a lot. It's called the deer. Yes. But indigenous people call it wapiti. And we try to, yes, recreate this soul as well, all this indigenous knowledge. This is a mix between climate change quotes and a mural I made as well in the past, talking about sexual violence as a weapon of war. My continent doesn't have actually, it's not in state of war, but we do have a lot of problems with, how do you say, traffic and commercial, yes, violence.
Human trafficking?
Yes. So that's why it's also an important spot. And in this mural, I wanted as well to bring the women of the countries that are constantly, till now, in this time, modern times, fighting to have rights, like basic rights. We don't even get to abortion rights. It's just to live, you know, because we all know that, and if you don't know, violation is a weapon of war that's being used to destroy societies over and over again and to colonize countries in Africa, in Asia, in South America. So we understand it as a threat, and that's what I wanted to explain. And reclaim the power for us is, it's something that we say every time we try to reunite all the activism around the world, roots activism, to bring equality. And yes, so this is a llama. Llama is really famous in my country and in Peru as well. But I tried to do an ecological llama, a transitional llama. So she has all these symbols that means energy, renewable energy, solar panels like food sovereignty, you know. So yeah, it's important to have fun sometimes. So this is also, well, I also do illustration, and it's also a powerful tool. And this is one of the last illustrations I made for talking about the importance of water. So in my country, women do, like here in Africa, certain rituals to call for the rain to come. We have the power to call the rain, not only women, men as well. But these rituals are still alive in Bolivia, and they do it. They do this celebration, and that is represented there. And here as well we are trying to represent water and the importance of women, because women are water actually. And water is love. Water is a sacred energy and is our main resource. So I wanted to represent these women, not only talking about the importance of water in humanity, But also she has the symbols of a jaguar. Because jaguar also, it's the garden of water in all the Amazon. Because if jaguars disappear, it's a direct, I don't know how to say this, if you don't have jaguars, then you know that the forests don't have enough healthiness to survive, you know? So jaguars are direct animals that show you how the ecosystem is working. If the jaguars are the first to move on, if an ecosystem is being intervened by humans or contaminated. So they are really, really important. Okay. So this is also something I did for another foundation, but it doesn't have a special meaning. Well, I said that, I don't know how to say slow bear, also perezoso.
Sloth.
Yes, it's a DJ slot. I said like nature is the DJ, so. Yes. Okay, so. This is one of the biggest murals I made in my city. I'm there. Next to it.
That's beautiful.
And this mural was really important for us women in Latin America, in Bolivia, to have a space to say we exist and we have our history as well. And for us, our battle as women, eco-feminist women, and not only eco-feminist, communitary women, we have different phases. Yes, we talk about the indigenous importance to recognize Mother Nature's rights. That is what guides us, the ethic of careness. Yes? Caring, the ethic of caring. That's something that we actually are trying to work on, because normally activism is something that you often go and work for the outside and you don't work the inside. And then it gets a moment when you get crushed. So women are trying to understand that this is not healthy and we need to reorganize our activism through balance. So you have the condors that's there. You have these women, this little girl. It says in their necklace, but we can see it. It says, "Stop killing us."
Okay.
And it's also talking about indigenous rights. All this comes through us, women, and we are really conscious about it. And yes, so this is just a close-up. And I also write that this is one of the first main markets in La Paz, Bolivia. And it says, "Take out capitalism of my body and the earth." And yes, we're trying to, I don't know, rewrite a history as well, not only for women, for humanity. These women as well are really important for us because they are called the chifleras in Bolivia. We have our famous street with a lot of witchcraft. And actually it's not only witchcraft, but these women know how to talk with herbs and they can heal you. So you go to this place to say, okay, I'm in pain, I have this, and they have all the knowledge to go pick some herbs and say, okay, you take this and you will be fine. So they are also a patrimony for us, an heritage. They are really important and they are still alive. I also did this poster to remember Marielle. I don't know if you know Marielle Franco from Brazil. She was a really important person in terms of gender equality and diversity. And she was murdered, I think last year, right?
2 years ago.
2 years already? Yes, okay. So she was murdered in Rio de Janeiro. She was fighting against military interventions in the favelas, like the poor areas, let's say. And that's also really colonized word. But to say you cannot intervene our home, our spaces. That's not fair. And she was lesbian and she was black. So all these conditions made her more vulnerable. And at the end she got killed. But all she did is something really important in terms of bringing rights to black people in South America, in Brazil, talking about how women are organizing, how we have as well the right to decide our gender. So, and I put Elena, because in that moment Bolsonaro was about to gain the presidency of Brazil, and we know Bolsonaro. Well, I'm sure you already know him. So, but well, we are against Bolsonaro. Okay. And then yes, I have this. It's again, fear will change sides. And this cholita is the traditional women in Bolivia. It's saying no to patriarchy. It's saying I'm not afraid anymore. And this, yeah, I think it's one of my favorite ones. I made a stencil of it. I put it in some places. It's really special. But for us, for Bolivia, in our moments where we are, I think we are the second country now in feminicides. And we are, it's really violent in terms for women to talk, to have rights. We don't have even legalized abortion. We go to jail if we have an abortion. So we have a lot of fights as women there. It's not easy. So yes, we are there. So this is important to show to women that we can fight, that we have to still be talking and denouncing things. And this mural, yes, talks about climate change. And yes, it's a little lady, well, no lady, sorry, it's a little kid. And yeah, it gives you the two ways we have, the two paths, yes. And one is to keep on with, we don't have exactly fossil fuel companies in Bolivia in terms of carbon. That's not our reality of climate change. Our biggest threats are actually agronegocio, like farm, big scale industry, GMO, soy. That's our biggest threat in all South America. But deforestation. So I put all the extractivism there, and you have somehow to preserve the forest, to move to renewables. So yes, society needs to choose, right? And then yes, I'm still here talking about the jaguars, because Chinese corporations came to South America like it came to Africa, and they are destroying. I'm going to say this direct because since 3 years ago they started to do a lot of traffic with jaguars because they lack of the tiger, how is it? The teeth. So now they are pursuing jaguars. And we don't have the same laws like Africa or India in terms of conservance. So it's really difficult. We already lost, I think, 3,000 jaguars in the last 2 years. And if we keep on like this, it's going to disappear in 2 more years. And because of the importance of jaguars in the conservation of forests and Amazon forest, that means we are in, yes, really bad time, really bad timing. So we are trying, these are stickers, we are trying as well to tell people how to understand that if you preserve the animal, if you want it like just for love for the animal, but we're trying people to understand that it's not just the animal itself is taking care of like biggest spaces of native forests. If you conserve the jaguar, you conserve automatically these spaces. So it's really strategic actually. And this is another strike we made because the government again decided to put a runway, no, highway.
Highway.
Yes, a highway in this hard thickness, this reserve. Again, indigenous people said no, but he again is trying to get through it, and we women decided to step in front of the vice president's street, like it's there, the house. And we are saying thickness is an emergency. Women are the reflect of Mother Earth, and we are talking about respect, autodetermination. That's really important for indigenous people and for us. And it says stop patriarchal and capitalism, violence in our bodies and in the earth. So I painted the girls. They are naked and they are the forest, but this is the highway through them. And so that's what it means actually. It's really symbolic. Yes. And then I also made these stickers to talk about to preserve our food heritage, choclo, maize, or corn. They are huge. We have it in a lot of colors, and we have dishes. Okay, so this sticker is really important because we are talking not just about food sovereignty. We are bringing, actually, we are cooking. We women in urban areas, we are bringing the ingredients of the indigenous people with women, like honey or other beans and stuff, and we are cooking to say to people, eat healthy, but this is coming for a threatened territory. We are working directly with the women that are threatened to lose their territories, and through that talking about GMOs and all this stuff. But as well, like you're eating well, and this is gonna disappear. So that's how we work with women. So yes, this is another one. This is really nice because I made it in COP in Paris, and it's a game. I put a big map of the world, and I settled down bombs. Yes, they are bombs, but each bomb has it's a different kind of bomb. Actually, they are good bombs.
Peace bombs.
Yes. So one says, for example, truth, joy, unity, equality, food sovereignty, compassion, resilience, freedom, free seeds. And these bombs, people were supposed to put it where they think they need it. So you see how people conceive the world, the map world of our world, in terms of what we need. It was really nice, because you see Australia needs, for example, nature's sovereignty. Yes, and there you see, like, it's really nice. That was a really nice experiment. And yes, I was here before in Africa, and we were talking about nuclear and the threat of nuclear. So I painted in Endopaya, Soweto, and this house is made of radioactive bricks. It's not far away from Johannesburg, but we have this situation of contamination in Johannesburg. And my government wants to bring nuclear as well to Bolivia. So this madness, somehow needs to stop, especially in the countries of the south, because we receive all the contamination and dams to keep on the first countries alive, and that's not fair. And yes, this is another design of talking about petrol and fossil fuels. So I think it's clear. Yeah. That's the future if we still keep on with the fossil fuels. Yes, and my government as well is trying to bring a shell to the south of Bolivia, of one of the most important reserves of water we have. And yes, we're trying to say no we don't want it. Women, we don't want it. So, yeah, these are some engravings. And, well, this talks about abortion, to cut the chains. So, we are birds, and we have scissors to cut all these chains. It's, yeah, symbolic. And these are also some other designs that I made for specific encounters. And yes, we were talking about seeds and life in this heart. And yes, the baby is actually, it's the seed itself, it's the sky itself, it's water itself. And that's how the word functions. Sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna just show. This is really beautiful. I'm gonna try to do it quickly. It's not just a cholita from the back. In the 70s, we already have feminism, anarchist feminism from cholitas. And so they were really organized, and they were controlling the markets of flowers, are organizing in a different way. I cannot explain this fast now, but I wanted to represent that battle, because in all these festivals that we have, I'm the only woman that's painting normally. And they still have this conception of muralism, Mexican muralism, really male way. Yes. So it's really important to bring that we women are doing history like long time ago, and it's not the way we represent murals of Mexican murals and all this stuff. We have as well a lot of things to say, and I'm not explaining it well, but we already have women in our history that were really important. So I wanted to bring that to our history, a life history. And this is the end one. It says freedom. And this I made it like, it's almost 4,000 meters over the sea, my city. So this is almost at the fort, because I painted for the last 5 months a macro mural of 18,000 meters square. So before coming here, and this is one of my favorites because it's telling people through the sky, because we have like a subway, but it's in the sky. It's called the telepheric, yes. And so you can see all this macro mural is there. You see it? You see it from this, and you see all the history of the neighborhood. But as well, again, I was trying to say to people that we need women to liberate, so Earth can liberate and guide us through careness.
This was mind-blowing.
Thank you very much.
Knorke is going to be with us. Are there any burning questions? We're running over time. Maybe 1 or 2 comments, maybe, and we can move on to the feminism. This was feminism. We're going to extend the feminist panel, basically.
Yes.
Andrew.
I mean, I know it's a big and broad question, but I mean, with the Bolivian government, you had what was a